tonight.
I feel glad.
Not guilty. A 76-year-old retired doctor is acquitted after being charged with sexually assaulting 5 of his patients. Also, tornado confirmed. We learn more about the twister that touched down northwest of Moose Jaw. Plus,
nobody's forgotten her.
60 years later, the family of Alexandra Witcheruk still hopes to find her killer.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Wednesday, May 18th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. A former Regina doctor accused of sexually assaulting 5 women during medical exams has been found not guilty of all charges. The 5 women all testified at the trial, but the judge decided their testimony was not reliable. Maureen Mugerwa has the details.
I feel glad to be vindicated of all these false allegations. I'm so glad that finally I've got justice.
76-year-old Sylvester Ukabam has always said he's innocent. During the trial, he said he was shocked by allegations that he sexually assaulted 5 patients.
Devastating. The past 5 years have been devastating, but I thank God that it is all over.
Ukabam worked in a downtown Regina medical office until late 2018. That's when he was charged with sexually assaulting 5 women during medical exams. The trial began in January. In their testimony, the women accused Ukabam of groping their genitals and breasts without consent. Today, Justice Brian Sherman said he accepts that the women believe they're telling the truth, but didn't trust the accuracy of their statements.
Justice Sherman's comments that this wasn't a case that turned on credibility, this was a case that turned on reliability, I agree very much with that. This is a difficult case for everybody involved, whether you're the complainant or the accused and their families and supporters, and it just is an extremely difficult situation. So obviously pleased with the decision. I certainly saw this as a case turning on reliability, not credibility.
The women, who cannot be identified due to a publication ban, didn't speak after the verdict.
Our brother and father has been through hell, but his faith was not shaken.
Outside the courthouse, his family celebrated the verdict.
How do you feel today?
We feel great. We feel very grateful to God. We give glory to Him. It has been a very tough time for the entire family. But the truth will always rise to the top, and we thank God for that.
Ukabam has retired and will not resume his medical practice. Maureen Mugerwa, CBC News, Regina.
A Saskatchewan teacher is heading to jail. This after she admitted she sexually assaulted a minor. Jesse Anton has that story.
Tori Lynn Peterson pleaded guilty Tuesday to sexually assaulting a 15-year-old boy. Another charge of sexual interference was stayed. The 23-year-old is now sentenced to 18 months at the Pine Grove Correctional Center in Prince Albert. Peterson was also ordered to provide a DNA sample and not to own or use any guns for 10 years. Regina police say they were first alerted about the allegations back in January. They were told the incidents happened in both Regina and the town of Grenfell, roughly 125 kilometers east of the city. According to Peterson's defense lawyer, the agreed statement of facts says Peterson had just broken off an engagement to be married when the 15-year-old initiated sexual contact. At the time of the assault, Peterson's lawyer says the boy wasn't her student, and Peterson wasn't teaching after getting dismissed from her job at Grenfell Community High School. According to her website, Peterson studied education at the University of Regina. In the fall of 2020, a local newspaper reported that Peterson had started teaching at Grenfell High, where she once attended. Prairie Valley School Division confirmed she's no longer employed there. As of Wednesday afternoon, the Teachers Regulatory Board listed Peterson as a registered educator in Saskatchewan until the end of August. But she'll be riding out that term in jail instead of the classroom, and her lawyer says it's highly unlikely she'll ever teach again. Jessie Anton, CBC News, Regina.
It was an emotionally charged day inside the Saskatchewan Legislative Chamber. 2 MLAs were kicked out for their conduct, something that hasn't happened in years. You don't see it here, but independent MLA Nadine Wilson was heckling Premier Scott Moe today. The Speaker asked her to apologize for using unparliamentary language. He gave her 3 chances. When Wilson did not apologize, she was suspended for the rest of the day. Wilson did not ask a question during debate, but was talking from her chair. Premier Moe says Wilson should step down and run as an independent.
This is a member that has left her caucus due to misrepresenting her status. This is a member that has periodically shown up in the House, and then we see when she does show up, she gets kicked out. I don't think she's been present for 1 vote in the House. The most fundamental job that you do on behalf of your constituents in this House is you stand up and vote on their behalf, and I don't believe she's partaken in 1 of those votes.
The other MLA ejected today was the NDP's Doyle Vermette. Today was the 22nd time Vermette stood up in question period this session to talk about the mental health and addictions crisis. And today, he became emotional. He's upset the government rejected his proposal for a bipartisan committee to address suicide. Vermette says it's an insult to families who've lost loved ones.
I'm going to read off the families. The Ball family, the Irwin family, the Rat family, the McKenzie family, the McLeod family, the Charles family, the Dick family, the Sanderson family, the Clark family, the Bird family, the Roberts family, the Nippy family, the Cook family, the Roberts family, the Beatty family. They wanted the Premier to stand. Why didn't you just tell them yesterday you didn't care about them? And why did the minister, why don't you just tell the truth and say you don't give a shit about anyone?
The Speaker gave Vermette 3 opportunities to apologize for his unparliamentary language, but he refused, so he was also ejected. Premier Moe says stopping suicide is a priority, but that a committee of politicians is not the answer. People in a Saskatoon neighborhood say they've been plagued by a mysterious vibration for 2 years. The vibrations rattle everything from barbecue lids to pots and pans. The city and the manufacturing company across the street have been trying to figure out what's causing it. Dan Zakreski has more.
If you can come in here and just in the bathroom you can hear this noise. It's subtle, but it's there all the time. And this is a good day.
Carol Zentner has lived in this house for 3 decades. She says it started vibrating 2 years ago, and it's taking a toll.
We've had a lot of damage in the house. You can see this crack up here. And all of a sudden, this door was off its rollers.
She's not alone. Other homeowners on the 1700 block of First Avenue North say their houses are shaking too. Like next-door neighbor Sylvain Kirian.
Oven rattling, bathroom door rattling, all the silverware and all the pots and pans and plates and all that good stuff. And toolbox in the garage.
Kirian and Zentner say the vibrations started when this manufacturing plant went up right across their back alley. Now, they complained to the city, but its investigators say they couldn't find a connection between the plant and the vibrations. ABC Manufacturing makes ventilation systems for the mining industry. It has 3 plants in the area. This is the one neighbors say is causing the vibrations. James Yowsey is ABC's president. He says they may be right.
Well, I can't think of anything other than manufacturing equipment that could be leading to that.
But trying to pinpoint exactly what's happening is proving to be frustrating.
And, but, you know, we don't feel vibrations when we're in the plant. We don't feel vibrations when we're in the alley behind the plant, between the homes and our manufacturing plant. So we're not suspicious, but we certainly just can't understand quite what's causing this problem.
Yowsey says the company is bringing in vibration monitoring equipment to try and get to the bottom of it. After 2 years of shaking silverware, Sylvain Kirian's wants are simple.
The vibration to go away.
Dan Zakreski, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Prince Charles and his wife Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, toured Ottawa today on the second day of their Canadian visit, and it was a busy day. The royals paid their respects at the National War Museum, watched the RCMP musical ride, and did plenty of handshaking. That includes meeting this group of Afghan refugees who now call Saskatoon home. The girls and women attended a progressive school in Afghanistan. After the Taliban took control, they were given safe haven in Canada. A charity run by His Royal Highness offered support. Today, some of the girls had a chance to say thank you. The Rough Riders preseason game may be a go after all, perhaps just delayed a few days. That is all speculation at this point. However, there are reports the two sides in the CFL's labor dispute are closing in on a deal, and there could possibly be a vote later tonight. The league and the Players Association broke off CBA negotiations on Saturday on the eve of kickoff to training camp. They were said to be far apart on many issues. This afternoon, it was reported they've been talking remotely the last couple days. However, it's believed we're already past the point the players can safely prepare to play a game as early as Monday. So a postponement is likely, though nothing is official as of yet. The Riders are scheduled to play the Bombers on Monday afternoon at Mosaic Stadium. It was a mostly cloudy day in Saskatchewan, but that temperature out there sure is comfortable. This is a live look at Pine Island on Wascana Lake, and that's where we'll find Ethan Williams, who will have a look at your full forecast as we roll closer to the long weekend. That's right after the break. Stay with us.
This weather update is brought to you by Capital Ford Lincoln. The exclusive export event is back.
And Ethan Williams joins us from Pine Island for tonight's weather, and it is a much calmer evening than last night.
Yeah, that's right, Sam. We had a very active night. Rain, wind, hail, even a tornado as well. It touched down near the community of Keeler, just northwest of Moose Jaw, around 7 o'clock. Now, I spoke with Rob Bean. He is a farmer in the area. He said he was woken up after supper by a crack of thunder. He went outside, and that's when he saw the tornado.
Kind of awestruck. Being a former truck driver, I've seen tornadoes off in the distance before, but nothing quite this close. Probably about as close as I'd like to get, at just the sheer power and the volatility of it. I mean, the winds came up so quick, the hail came down in a big hurry, and that thing formed like just almost out of nowhere.
And this video was shot by a worker at the Prairie Berries processing facility near Keeler. The plant hires foreign workers, and we're told that they were looking for their passports, work permits, wallets, all their valuable documents before they had to run into the basement to take shelter. They had to run to a building on the farm that has a basement in it. Now, the company says they've taught their workers to do this if severe weather ever strikes, and they certainly had to put that plan in action last night. Now, this tornado was rated an EF0. It was a land spout tornado, which means that it's not formed from a typical supercell thunderstorm, but it can still do damage, and we did have one unconfirmed damage report. And now this whole severe weather system is formed when we had a cold air mass moving in as part of a low pressure system which collided with that moist atmosphere, and we had other severe weather reports as well, not just the tornado, but marble-sized hail at Keeler, Strasbourg, and Regina picking up some rain as well. And there is more rain on the way. We are watching a low pressure system moving in from Alberta, and as you can see tonight as it swirls around, much of us will get rain, but the central part of the province will see rain tomorrow morning, while the southern part, including Regina, should get some sunny breaks as you start your commute in the morning. We get to the afternoon, much of us getting another dose of rain, and some areas in the central part of the province could see mixed precipitation. Eastern half of the south and central region could see some snow as well, and as that system moves from northwest to southeast, we are seeing some snow move into places like Estevan and Yorkton as we get later into the day on Thursday and overnight into Friday. And then through Friday, we see a very cool day with some possible mixed precipitation, even some straight snow. Not too much of it in parts of the province. We'll take a look at how much rain we're expecting. This is until the end of day tomorrow. And again, anywhere between 10 and 20 millimeters of rain. I think the 35 millimeters up near Prince Albert might be a little bit much. But with some thunderstorms expected tomorrow, we could see some isolated heavier amounts in there as well. Now, as we take a look at snowfall accumulation again, not really much in the way of snow. I think it's going to be mostly wet snow, maybe a couple of centimeters for places like Hudson Bay and Yorkton and Estevan, but wind gusts will be quite strong tomorrow. We look at through the night tonight, and we will see those winds pick up in the southwest corner of the province, gusting between 40 and 50 kilometers an hour. They then pick up to around 70 kilometers an hour, especially in places like Maple Creek and Val-Marie. And then as we head into the afternoon, pretty much all of us in south and central going to be seeing very strong wind gusts, anywhere between 50 and 70 kilometers an hour. They will still be with us as we head through the day on Friday, and we have a little bit of a cooler day. The next 7 days in Regina, we could see thunderstorms tomorrow with the showers moving through, maybe about 5 to 10 millimeters. A very cool day as expected on Friday, possibly with some mixed precipitation. But then as we head into the long weekend, just in time for it, we're looking at some sun and cloud and maybe some warmer temperatures as well. In Saskatoon, about 5 millimeters through the day tomorrow. That's not including rain that will fall overnight tonight. And then as we look into Friday and Saturday, a warm up in store. We will see Sunday and Monday, the last 2 days of the holiday, looking to be not too bad. And you really can't tell, Sam, that the rain is on its way, because if you look outside right now, it's beautiful in Regina.
You'd soak up that sun, Ethan. It's not going to last long. Today, the Globe Theatre launched its latest season, but obviously, as you can see, its building is still under construction in downtown Regina. So the Globe is touring Regina instead of anchoring in one place. Audiences will be able to watch performances at the newly renovated Dark Hall, the Artesian, and the Shumiacha Room at the Connexus Arts Centre. As for the building under construction, that's expected to reopen in 2024. Stay with us. We'll be back after the break. Today marks the 60th anniversary of a dark event in Saskatoon's history. 23-year-old nurse Alexandra Richaruk was murdered in 1962. After 6 decades of investigation, police still have not found her killer. But as Courtney Markowicz tells us, the family and the police are still looking for answers.
Through all the people you've interviewed, do you think it's possible you might have spoken to the person who murdered your aunt?
Oh, absolutely, girls, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
She was 23 years old, a beauty queen and a nurse. She went for a walk to mail some letters, and that night, she was murdered. It's been 60 years since Alexandra Richaruk was sexually assaulted and buried alive here on the riverbank in Saskatoon. And Saskatoon police still haven't charged anyone in the case. Her nieces hold on to happy memories of their Auntie Alex.
She turned on the music. And once she turned on that music, she had all of us dancing. And she'd teach us new, different dances. It was just so much fun.
But they also remember how Richaruk's 1962 death hit their family like a bombshell. Lynn Graytrix, Patty Story, and Lorraine Phillips were children when it happened. They grew up tormented by the mystery, and 14 years ago decided it was time to find answers. Graytrix on the left is in Edmonton, while Story on the right is in Texas.
We knew something horrible had happened, and we wanted to know why. We wanted to know what happened. So we just kept on asking.
Richaruk grew up north of Yorkton. She was the first in her family to get an education beyond high school. She was a beauty queen, and in 1961, Johnny Cash serenaded her at a concert in Saskatoon after she won a radio contest to be the girl in Saskatoon.
Going for to marry the girl in Saskatoon.
In 1962, Richaruk was living in an apartment north of City Hospital. She left for a walk on the evening of May 18th to buy stamps and mail some letters. She was supposed to work a night shift at the hospital. She never made it. 13 days later, her body is found. A group of boys fishing in the river had spotted her body in a bluff of trees. She had been sexually assaulted. Her skull was fractured, her face beaten. An autopsy determined she was still alive when she was buried. The Saskatoon police began their investigation Over 6 decades, it's involved more than 1,200 people, files containing thousands of documents, but no one has ever been charged. In 2008, Wachark's nieces went public with their intention to investigate the case themselves.
I know we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Right, girls?
Absolutely.
They've taken investigation courses, searched through dumpsters, interviewed people, and set up phone lines, websites, and social media pages to gather tips. The women relay information and theories to police, although they say too often they have to bring a new investigator up to speed.
We think that they are just sometimes pacifying us and saying, oh, we're really looking into it. And there's the big question mark. Are you?
Staff Sergeant Grant Obst oversees the historic case unit. He says there's still an active investigation into Wachark's murder. A tip came in just last month.
And Alexander's name gets mentioned in our office on a weekly basis. Nobody's forgotten her or the case. So we'll just keep plugging away.
That work includes staying up to date on investigative advancements, like using DNA and genealogy to find likely suspects. DNA in Wachark's case has so far just eliminated people of interest.
We still hope that at some point DNA may help us to find the perpetrator. I gotta say though, after 60 years, your hope starts to diminish a little bit.
Not the case for Wachark's nieces. They hold on to their hope.
Us girls have worked hard. We've worked very hard, but we do it because we love our Aunt Alexandra.
They're getting older too, all in their 60s and 70s. But they say they'll never stop trying to find out who is responsible for Auntie Alex's death. Courtney Markowicz, CBC News, Saskatoon.
In Regina at midnight, some gusty southeast winds, 11 degrees. We are looking at partly cloudy skies with a chance of showers. As we get to tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., we could see a break in the action in terms of the rain. We'll be at 13 degrees. Then as we get to the noon hour, our temperatures stall out, the showers build in, and there is also the risk of a thunderstorm in there as well. As we look at Saskatoon's forecast, the rain will begin modestly at midnight tonight. We're looking at 9 degrees. Those east winds still with us through the evening. As we get to tomorrow at 8 a.m., we see cloudy with showers, maybe a little bit of a break of the rain. The winds do die down a little bit. And then as we get to the noon hour, we're staying at 8 degrees. Those winds really picking up out of the northeast, Sam, and the temperature will actually drop through the afternoon.
No thank you, Ethan. No thank you. Saskatchewan Trailblazer is now permanently memorialized outside SaskTel Centre. Today, a statue of Fred Saskatchewan was unveiled outside the Saskatoon Arena. Saskatchewan was born on the Atakakuk Cree Nation near Shell Lake. A residential school survivor, he was the first Treaty Indian to play in the National Hockey League back in the early 1950s. He played a dozen games with the Chicago Blackhawks and became a role model to Indigenous children. Saskatchewan died in November of 2020 at the age of 86 after being hospitalized with COVID-19. And that is it for us tonight. For News Anytime, you can always head to our website or subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel. Coming up, Game 1 of the Battle of Alberta and Round 2 of the NHL playoffs. Glenn Reed will be back with more at 11:30. Thank you for watching and have a great night.